Hi, my drifties. I hope you are having a great start to your week. We've had a lot of snow this weekend. It's a long weekend for us here in Canada. It's Family Day. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of snow blowing of my driveway, and the plows are driving me nuts, putting all kinds of heavy snow at the end of my driveway. And it's getting heavier and heavier. But, anyways, tis the season. The story today brings me a little bit of warmth because it's about a couple of best friends who go to Africa for a safari. And so I hope you enjoy it. I have started the story with a bit of a meditation breathing exercise, but if that's not your thing, I have placed down in the description a timestamp so you can actually skip right to the story if that's more your jam. But if you need to quiet your mind and relax your body, then just keep listening. Anyways, thank you for being here. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. And if you haven't yet, I do post brand new stories every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. So feel free to subscribe. And if you love the story, don't forget to like and comment. Let me know how you're doing. Okay, my friends, have a great evening. And I'll see you next week. Bye. Before we begin tonight's journey, let's take a moment to settle in. Find a comfortable position, whether you're lying down or gently resting in a cozy chair. Let the world around you fade into the background and allow yourself to sink into this moment, this quiet, peaceful space made just for you. Let's start with a gentle stretch. If it feels good, reach your arms overhead, stretching your fingers toward the sky as if reaching for the warm African sun. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, slowly lower your arms, releasing any tension from your shoulders. Now, roll your shoulders back and then forward, letting them relax completely. Gently tilt your head from one side to the other, feeling any tightness melt away. Take another deep breath in, and as you breathe out, allow your body to soften. Now, let's move into a full body relaxation. Bring your awareness to your toes. Wiggle them slightly, then let them become heavy, sinking into comfort. Let that relaxation travel up your feet to your ankles, releasing any tension. Now feel your legs grow warm and relaxed, as if the golden sun is gently resting upon them. Let your hips settle, your lower back soften, and your belly relax. Feel your chest rise and fall with your breath, slow and steady. Now, your shoulders, letting go of the weight of the day, your arms and your hands all at ease. Finally, bring your awareness to your face. Unclench your jaw, relax your brow, and soften your eyes. Imagine the cool evening breeze of the Serengeti sweeping over your skin, calming you completely. You are safe. You are at peace. With each breath, you drift deeper into relaxation, carried gently by the rhythm of the world around you. And now, let me take you far away to a land of endless golden plains, where the sun sets in brilliant shades of amber and the stars stretch endlessly across the sky. Tonight, we travel to Tanzania, where two best friends embark on an unforgettable journey. The plane touched down on the sun-warmed tarmac of Kilimanjaro International Airport, its wheels humming against the earth as it slowed to a stop. Through the small window, Claire watched the golden African landscape stretch out in every direction, the sky a vast and endless blue. A deep breath filled her lungs with the scent of dry air and distant adventure, and she turned to her best friend, Lena, sitting beside her. "Well," Claire said, with a slow grin, stretching her arms after the long flight, "we actually made it." Lena, always the dreamer, pressed her hands together in excitement. "Tanzania, Claire, we're really here." Her voice was filled with something between disbelief and delight. It had been years since the two of them had gone on a true adventure together. Life had pulled them in different directions, Claire with her steady job in the city, and Lena chasing creative projects that took her from one place to another. But one evening, over a bottle of wine, they had made a promise. One day, we'll go on an African safari together. A trip to celebrate their years of friendship, to escape the noise of their everyday lives, to simply be present in a world much older and wilder than their own. And now, here they were. Their journey began with a small bush plane that carried them over rolling savannas, the land below alive with movement, herds of elephants trailing through the dust, wildebeest grazing in tight clusters, a river glinting silver under the afternoon sun. Claire felt a quiet thrill settle in her chest as she pressed her forehead to the window. An hour later, the plane touched down on a dirt airstrip deep within the Serengeti. Waiting for them was their guide, a tall man with kind eyes named Elias. He greeted them warmly, his Swahili accent rolling over his words like poetry. "Welcome to your safari, my friends," he said, helping them into the open-air Land Rover. The vehicle smelled of sun-warmed leather and adventure. "I hope you're ready. The animals are waiting." The drive to the lodge was unlike anything Claire had ever experienced. The road was a winding ribbon of dust, and every turn brought them something new. A herd of zebras stood in the distance, their black and white stripes shimmering in the heat. A giraffe stretched its long neck to nibble leaves from the acacia tree, glancing at them with curious, gentle eyes. Lena gasped as they passed a group of elephants, so close, their ears fanning slowly as they trudged through the golden grass. The lodge itself was a dream, tucked into a quiet part of the reserve. It overlooked a vast stretch of open plains. The main deck was shaded by a thatch roof, with wide wooden chairs arranged around a low fire pit. Their tented suite was both luxurious and rustic, with canvas walls that billowed softly in the warm breeze, a cozy bed draped in mosquito netting, and an outdoor shower where water trickled over smooth stones. From their private veranda, they could see the horizon stretching endlessly, the sky already shifting to the soft hues of sunset. Claire exhaled, feeling the tension of city life melt from her shoulders. I can't believe how peaceful it is here. Lena leaned back on the wooden rail, her eyes following the gentle sway of the tall grasses. This is exactly what we needed. That evening, as the sun dipped lower, Elias met them at the Land Rover once more. It was time for their first official game drive, a sunset safari, the golden hour of the Serengeti. With a flick of the engine, they rolled into the wild, the sky turning into a watercolor of deep orange, pink, and indigo. And as they drove, Claire closed her eyes for just a moment, letting the warm wind brush against her skin, the distant calls of unseen creatures filling the quiet. The adventure had only just begun, and already it felt like a dream. The Land Rover rumbled softly over the dirt road, its tires pressing gentle tracks into the golden earth. The air had cooled slightly, and the scent of dry grass and distant rain clung to the breeze. Claire and Lena sat side by side, their hands gripping the edges of their seats, their eyes wide with wonder. The world around them felt like a living painting, each brushstroke more vivid than the last. The Serengeti stretched endlessly in all directions, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun. Acacia trees stood like ancient sentinels, their twisting branches silhouetted against the fiery sky. Shadows stretched long across the land, and in the distance, a slow-moving herd of wildebeest carved dark shapes into the horizon. Elias, their guide, drove with an easy confidence, his eyes scanning the landscape as if he could sense where the next moment of wonder would appear. "This is the magic hour," he said over his shoulders. "The animals know it too." As if on cue, a rustling to their right caught Claire's attention. She turned just in time to see a dazzle of zebras moving through the tall grass, their black and white coats gleaming against the amber light. They walked with elegant purpose, their tails flicking as they nudged one another playfully. Lena laughed softly. They look like they belong in a dream. Elias nodded. Each stripe is unique, like a fingerprint. No two are the same. The Land Rover continued on, the road narrowing as they approached a low-lying cluster of trees. Just beyond the tangled branches, a small family of elephants emerged. 3 adults and a calf, no bigger than a large dog. The little one wobbled on its thick legs, its tiny trunk swinging clumsily as it tried to mimic the graceful movements of the older elephants. Claire's heart swelled. Look at that baby. The matriarch of the group, her tusks curved with age and wisdom, paused mid-step to watch them. And for a moment, Claire felt something pass between them. Maybe a quiet understanding, a recognition of presence. Then, with slow, deliberate movements, the elephants turned and melted back into their trees, their massive footprints left behind in the soft earth. The Land Rover rolled on as the sky deepened into shades of violet and gold. They arrived at a rocky outcrop where Elias slowed the vehicle to a near stop. Look carefully, he said in a hushed voice. Claire and Lena followed his gaze, and at first they saw only the tall grass, golden in the fading light, but then a flicker of movement, a sleek, spotted shape slinking through the brush, its muscles rippling beneath its coat. A leopard. Lena sucked in a breath. The leopard moved with liquid grace, its golden eyes locked onto something unseen. And for a moment, it paused, its tail flicking once, twice, and then as silently as it had appeared, it disappeared into the dusk. Claire exhaled. That was unreal. Elias smiled knowingly. Leopards are ghosts of the savannah. You were lucky to see one at all. They continued their drive, their minds still lingering on the beauty of what they had just witnessed. The Serengeti was alive in every direction. Ostriches strutting through the grass, warthogs trotting with their tails held high, giraffes bending their long necks to nibble at thorny trees. It was a world that pulsed with a quiet rhythm, a place where time stretched and softened. And just as Claire was beginning to feel the warmth of contentment settle into her bones, Elias suddenly lifted a hand. Listen. The engine hummed quietly as they slowed to a stop. The air was thick with the sounds of wild crickets chirping and the rustle of dry leaves and the distant trumpeting of an elephant. And then, beneath it all, a low, resonant rumble. Lions. Claire's pulse quickened. Elias turned off the vehicle. In the hush of twilight, they're close, he whispered. A rustle in the grass made Lena grab Claire's arm. And then, just ahead, the lioness appeared. She was powerful, her golden coat blending seamlessly with the land. Her eyes flickered toward them, calm and unreadable. Behind her, the rest of the pride stirred, cubs tumbling over one another. Another lioness stretching lazily in the grass. A massive male with a thick, dark mane lay a little further back, his head resting on his paws, his tail flicking lazily. The moment stretched long and still, filled only with the deep, ancient energy of the wild. The lions, the Land Rover, the fading sun, it all felt like part of some unbroken story, one that had been playing out long before humans ever arrived. Finally, the lioness turned away, padding silently into the tall grass. One by one, the others followed. Lena let out a breath she hadn't realized that she was holding. That was incredible. Elias started the engine once more. Now you see why we call it the magic hour. As they drove back toward the lodge, the first stars began to prick in the sky, winking between the silhouetted trees. Claire leaned her head back, feeling the cool wind against her face, letting the moment settle in her soul. They had come to Tanzania seeking adventure, and already the Serengeti had given them something far more profound, an unforgettable glimpse into the rhythm of the wild. The Land Rover rumbled softly as it returned to the lodge, its headlights casting golden beams over the dirt road. The Serengeti, now bathed in moonlight, felt even more alive. The warm glow of lanterns flickered in the distance, welcoming Claire and Lena back from their journey into the wild. As Elias pulled the vehicle to a stop, he turned to them with a knowing smile. Tonight, you will sleep well. Claire stretched, feeling the warmth of the night air settle around her. I don't think I've ever felt so content. Lena, still gazing out at the endless plains, let out a happy sigh. Or so full of wonder. They climbed down from the vehicle, their boots crunching against the packed earth, and followed a narrow lantern-lit path toward the open-air dining area. The lodge's main deck stretched out beneath the sky, overlooking a small watering hole where the shadows of animals flickered in the distance. A fire crackled at the heart of the space, its embers sending tiny sparks into the warm night air. Their table was set near the edge of the deck, giving them a clear, unobstructed view of the savannah. The sound of the wilderness surrounded them, distant hoots of owls, the rustling of unseen creatures moving through the grass, the occasional deep-throated grunt of a hippo from the water. A server approached with a warm smile and placed 2 glasses of chilled white wine before them. Tonight's meal is a traditional Tanzanian feast, she said. We have nyama choma, grilled meats seasoned with local spices, served with ugali and sautéed greens. She gestured to the steaming dishes arriving at their table, and for dessert, a warm coconut mandazi drizzled with honey. Claire inhaled deeply, savoring the rich aromas that filled the air, the smoky char of grilled beef and chicken, and the nutty scent of ugali, the hint of cinnamon in the fried pastry. As she took her first bite, the flavors melted across her tongue, earthy, spiced, and deeply satisfying. Lena made a small sound of delight. I could eat this every day. They ate slowly, savoring the food and the moment. Every now and then, their eyes wandered toward the watering hole. A family of giraffes had arrived, their elegant necks dipping low as they sipped from the cool water. Behind them, a few zebras stood still, their ears twitching at every distant sound. And then, just as Claire reached for her glass of wine, a rustling in the nearby brush caught her attention. A lone elephant, its massive form bathed in silver light, moved softly toward the water. Its ears flapped gently as it lowered its trunk, scooping up mouthfuls of water and spraying them over its thick, wrinkled skin. The night stretched on in golden stillness. There was no rush, no need for words, only the slow and steady rhythm of the wild. Eventually their plates were cleared, their wine glasses emptied, and the fire crackled down to soft embers. Elias approached, a lantern in hand. "Shall I walk you to your tent?" Lena stretched with a sleepy smile. "Yes, please. I don't trust myself to navigate in the dark." Claire chuckled, feeling the drowsiness settle in her limbs. "I don't think I've ever been this ready for sleep." They followed Elias along the wooden pathway, the lantern's glow casting flickering light onto the canvas walls of the tents. The air smelled of earth and night jasmine, cool against their sun-warmed skin. Inside their tent, the space was a cocoon of comfort. The bed, draped in soft white mosquito netting, looked impossibly inviting. A few lanterns flickered softly, casting golden light onto the wooden floors. And through the open flaps of the tent, the Serengeti stretched out before them, an endless sea of silver grass beneath a sky bursting with stars. Claire stepped onto their small veranda, breathing in the quiet night air. Lena joined her, wrapping herself in a soft woven shawl. They stood there for a moment, just listening. Somewhere in the distance, the deep, resonant roar of a lion rumbled through the night. It wasn't a sound of fear, but of belonging, a reminder that they were part of something ancient, something vast and untamed. And with a yawn, Lena turned back toward the bed. "I think I could fall asleep in 2 seconds." Claire followed, slipping beneath the cool sheets, feeling the weight of the day settle into her bones. The sound of the wilderness wrapped around them like a lullaby. the chirping of crickets, the whisper of wind through the tall grass, the occasional distant call of an owl. Lena sighed contently. Best day ever. Claire smiled, her eyes growing heavier. Best sleep ever. And with that, they drifted off, their dreams carrying them back into the golden heart of the Serengeti.